This is just a rambling, a process, my process. How I work through aspects of self when I come across oppositions within self, when I feel internal turmoil or struggle because there is an opposition within myself and I'm coming against walls. And many times I will have an open dialogue with self and my universe. I will think and I ponder and I muse and I discuss. All within self, all by myself. And it's very challenging as an individual, as a human, to go through these moments alone. To learn to make peace and resolve and find conclusions, to seek answers, all within self, without reaching outwardly, without reaching towards another to say, what's the answers? Give me an answer. How do I fix this? How do I resolve this? What's wrong with me? Why do I feel this way? And many of us do that. And I'm not saying there is anything wrong with that. Because having a different perspective is very helpful for our growth. Within this now, I am just communicating my personal experience, a structure that has been my path, and whether that was self-imposed, whether that was creatively designed by my higher self for my particular soul evolution, I am just trying to share that experience. And do I wonder and question, are there others that go through this too? Of course, we all ask those questions. I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one that is experiencing this. I can't be the only one that goes through these thought forms and these emotions and these feelings. Because inherently, at the end of the day, we're all connected. So I know deep down, we all do. I know there are other people, whether I'm connected physically in this third dimension and be able to validate that because I'm in dialogue with another person. I understand inherently that I am connected to a web that is infinite, that others are experiencing the same as I am. So, within this now, I personally am struggling to communicate, to articulate my expression. And the more that I evolve and recognize that expression is very important in our soul's evolution, and understanding expression, understanding our own personal expression and the expression of others and the expression of energy. Because expression are different aspects of the source. And we all have our unique signature of that expression that holds a particular tone, frequency, color, sound, etc., etc., etc. Within my particular leg of this journey, I am being forced and challenged, not by anything outside of self. It's actually an internal challenge. It is I who is challenging self. My higher self is challenging my human aspect to overcome any restrictions and limitations that I've placed upon self, that the world has placed upon me, familia, etc., etc. And when I feel that resistance, it is a sign to me that I'm still holding some type of limitation, some type of belief that I am not able to fully express myself, in whatever form that is. We've lived in a system, in a structure for so long as a society, as a community. And we built a particular framework that was designed. And if you fit inside of said framework, that shows and proves you are part of that society. You are part of that community, that family, that structure. And then we wonder why many of us hold beliefs of feeling of outsiders, of feeling outcasted, of feelings of being ostracized, feelings of being isolated and not part, feelings of separation. Because as humans, we created that and we said, this is the framework, this is the box. And in order to fit in this group, you have to fit in that box. And many of us who realize that we cannot be confined to a particular form, to a particular structure, that we're expansive, that we're infinite, that we are the source, is not contained. It cannot be contained. Yet within that knowing of our capability of being so expansive, we still want to find a place. We still want to find our home. We still want to be part of this third dimensional reality and the frameworks that have been designed, and we want to feel part of a community. We want to be part of the family. But we can't fit inside those lines. We can't fit inside those boxes that have already been created. So we become the outsiders, the dwellers that sit beyond the village, the cave dwellers, those that still can relate to the community that they're not part of. But because technically they realize they are part of that community. Whether the community sees them as part or not is a different story. And they accept that. It takes a very harsh understanding, to accept that you were part of something, because you realize you were part of a grander, bigger connection and web of things. But the reality is the community won't always accept you because your ideas and your beliefs are not in alignment with theirs. So you're cast out. And that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength to come to that awareness and that acceptance. There comes a time where we stop trying to fit in other people's boxes, to other people's constructs, fit into other frameworks, and learn that what you've designed for self works exactly for you. And that's okay. And that you are creating your own world and your own reality. And those that are in resonance will venture into your reality. That you don't need to keep suppressing. You don't need to keep changing or hiding or dimming your light to fit in another's reality. It's okay. It's interesting, the more and more that I try to fit into a collective construct and design, the more turmoil it causes me. And my universe always shows me that. It always brings me back and says, and reminds me, are you being authentic? Are you being true to self? Because you were trying to fit into other people's worlds. That you are trying to mold and shape yourself to fit what works for them. And that's not being true and authentic to myself. And that may be, part of my lesson this lifetime is learning to be truly independent and appreciate who I am as an individual outside of what everybody thinks, outside of the status quo, outside of what's already formed, and lead the way in my own life and create something new. Amen. As humans, it is natural that we need others, and not need from a codependent, dependent type of relationship, but it's a necessary function. I truly believe we can survive on our own. And I've proven that to myself with this journey of being on a hermit path, that learning to give myself exactly what I need in every now moment. Because every time that I reached outside of myself, my universe pushed me back in and said, no, that's not the way. You need to go within. What are you seeking? What do you need? What are you lacking? How can you resolve these issues without grasping and being dependent on other? How can you give that to yourself? How can you give it up to us, to the universe, to your higher self? And have faith that exactly what you need, I will give you. I will provide it for you, and have faith in that and trust that. And these are all aspects that have been my path. And many can look at it from an outside perspective and say, wow, that's very lonely. Or why are you isolating yourself? And they can sit there and say, oh, all these friggin' things, whatever. Anybody can say whatever they want. I don't care. It's not my life. It's not your life. It's my life. And it has worked, and it has helped me grow and evolve as an individual, as an individualized aspect of the source. And I'm not dependent. I'm not in toxic relationships. I'm not codependent on anyone. It has helped me thrive. And the challenges that I come up against are my challenges. They're challenges against self, not anybody else. It's not an outside source. The challenge is me. And I challenge myself every day to overcome those limiting beliefs and structures that are holding me back from evolving and thriving. There is a place where with this dependency, codependent, and independent nature, and people can look at me and say, oh, well, she has way too high standards, way too over it, independent. And that's okay, that's fine. But those were steps that I needed to take to find out and really know my value and my worth. And self-worth coming from a place of where I was very much so many, many years ago. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't love myself. I was very mentally ill. I didn't have self-confidence. Any of that. And this path has been very disciplined and regimented to show myself that I'm fully capable of giving myself exactly what I need. Yeah, there are times now where I feel like I've completed the initiation and that leg of my journey, and I do wish to connect with others and share the information and knowledge that I've acquired over time within this journey. And where I'm at now, I'm struggling to communicate that verbally. I have no problem doing it in written. None at all. I'm actually a better communicator through written, spoken word. Well, written word. And I'm now in the process of trying to challenge myself in expressing and communicating exactly what's going on. But then I worry about how will it be received? Or I think about after I said something, well, I could have worded it this way, or I could have did this, or I could have did that. And it's like, then I have to go back and ask myself, well, why? It came out exactly how it was meant to come out. What are you worried about? And I know that there's going to be many times I'm going to say things that are going to ruffle feathers, that are going to flip apple carts. And then there's a part of me that worries about that. And then I have to think about, all right, you're giving your power away now because you're worried about what other people think. You're worried about how it's going to be received. You can't help the way people receive or perceive what you say and what you do. At the end of the day, all you can do is be true and authentic to yourself and trust that and express that and not be afraid to be transparent. Even if that transparency comes off ugly, you know, because of old patterns and behaviors and these deep imprints of ancestral wounds, it's like we think we heal them. We've done the work, but they still come up because they're so deep, they're so embedded. And we're not perfect, and that's okay. That's part of the human experience. And we got to stop trying to be so friggin' perfect all the time. There is no perfection except the perfection within the imperfection. And it's learning to see yourself as perfect as you are. Perfect however you look, however you express, however you feel. It's all divine. It's all an expression of the source. And source doesn't limit. Source doesn't build constructs. Source doesn't build boxes and say, you need to fit into that. Expression is fluid. It's malleable. And it's meant to flow. In whatever form that is. And this is something that I'm still testing myself and challenging myself to release the expectation, to release the what the group says is acceptable. And just trust myself. And have faith in my universe that it's okay and I'm loved and I'm appreciated. Not everyone's going to agree, and that's okay. Many people are going to disagree. But as an infinite and energetic being, I can't keep trying to fit myself into molds, fit myself into other people's realities. Because then I start dimming my own light and I start taking away from myself because I just want to be part of their reality. And we got to let go of that idea. We're not always meant to be part of everybody's reality. And what's meant to be part of our reality will align. It'll align. Just be true to who you are, and everything else will fall into place. Be true to what you feel and what you know. And remember, you don't have to be anything other than what you are. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Even to yourself. We don't have to prove anything. We're exactly where we need to be, who we need to be within that now moment. And it's coming back to that space and accepting that. And there are many things that I want to do, and I will challenge myself. And I will put myself through the ringer because I'm not living up to my own personal expectations. But it's when we fall into trying to fit into other expectations, that's when we need to step back and start to reevaluate and ask ourselves, are we doing it for ourselves, to better ourselves and to grow and evolve? Or are we doing it for other people so that we can fit in, so that we can feel part of a community, so that we can feel like we're loved, that we're needed, whatever the case may be. I think I'm just at a point in my life that I won't continue to dissolve myself, to not be fully in who I am and my expression, and stand in my truth and my autonomy and my authenticity. And if that means that I won't be part of a particular group, structure, whatever, I'd rather be alone and know who I truly am than disown myself and not be free in my full individualized expression because I'm suppressing it to be part of something that is not true. So, yeah, these are my musings. My musings for the day. Thank you.